Hi everyone, this is Gamer. After an incredible run with FireRed, I now move on to Typhlosion. With FireRed beating the challenge run at level 69, I very much doubt Typhlosion can come close to that, and I'll explain why in a moment. Regardless, I did start my Gen 2 adventure with Cyndaquil, so Typhlosion has a special place in my heart. Typhlosion's leveling up moves aren't worth mentioning other than its fire type moves, Flame Wheel and Flamethrower. Both of these moves pack a punch when I unlock them, so they are great additions. As for TMs, they don't have the coverage I was hoping for. Unlike Gen 2 when Typhlosion can actually learn Thunder Punch, Gen 3 Typhlosion cannot learn any electric type moves. That means it doesn't have any effective way of dealing with water types. Having access to moves like Earthquake and Brick Break is nice. However, Typhlosion is definitely lacking the solid coverage that FireRed has, and I think that will hurt its run. Time will tell if it can outperform Meganium or not. Typhlosion excels at special attack, so its fire type moves will hit quite hard. The lower special defense is more worrying, especially against water type moves. As usual, the first rival fight was pretty straightforward. Ember did a bit less damage than Tackle, so Typhlosion mostly used Tackle to secure the win. I also fought the optional rival fight because the first two gyms were rock and water types. That means Typhlosion needs some levels to get past them, and a bit more grinding will certainly help. For the second rival fight, Pidgey did land a sand attack. To even the odds with Squirtle, I used Smokescreen on it before getting a few leers in and following up with tackles. The Brock fight was a combination of Ember due to low special stats of Brock's Pokemon and a single Smokescreen on Onix to minimize the damage taken. It was a pretty decisive win at the end, but Misty's gym worries me more. Eventually I got to Cerulean City and decided to challenge my rival first. Let's just say that I like my odds better with Squirtle more than Starmie. Pidgeotto used Gust and Quick Attack, so no accuracy drops for Typhlosion. After using two smoke screens on Squirtle, I then proceeded to use Ember due to all the withdrawal Squirtle used. The second Ember burned Squirtle, and Squirtle fainted after getting only a single water gun off that did almost a third of Typhlosion's health. This is why I got those smoke screens off early. Abra and Rattata were defeated easily. Typhlosion was level 27 when it challenged Misty's gym. I also taught a Secret Power TM, which I got just west of Bill's house. Secret Power has an ability depending on where the fight is taking place, and a gym means that it can paralyze. While the paralysis didn't happen in my fight with Misty, a combination of Smokescreen and good luck saw Typhlosion defeating Starmie after it easily one-shotted the Staryu. The SSN fight started off with Pidgeotto landing a Sand Attack and Quick Attack before it fainted. The Warp Turtle then got Typhlosion down to 18 health after one critical hit Water Gun and one normal Water Gun. Things would have been dicey if Raticate had went for a Quick Attack or Typhlosion missed any of its attacks, but thankfully it hit and one-shotted both the Raticate and Kadabra, ending the battle. Flame Wheel was very strong against Surge's team, but unlike Ember, it actually makes contact, so Typhlosion could get paralyzed due to static. I'm very glad that Flamethrower isn't a contact move, or some of the later battles can be tricky. Changing up my routine, I fought my rival at the Pokemon Tower after getting through Rock Tunnel. Flame Wheel one-shotted Pidgeotto, and I suspected that the crit probably mattered. Typhlosion needed 3 Secret Power to make Wartortle faint, and it was lucky when Wartortle wasted one of its 2 turns on withdrawal. Growlithe, Execute, and Kadabra that were defeated in quick successions. The Erica fight was basically spamming Flame Wheel 3 times and win. The Giovanni Hideout fight was also simple. Flame Wheel, despite being not very effective, did massive damage to low special defense Onix and Rhyhorn. Even Kangaskhan only took 2 Flame Wheels before fainting. The rival fight at Silphco always has me worried, as my rival seems very strong at this point. Pidgeot didn't use Sand Attack before it fainted, so that's a good start to the battle. However, that first attempt failed when Blastoise got a critical hit Water Gun. It does make me wonder what will happen if it gets Surf at this point of the game. The second attempt started off very much the same way. Pidgeot used Wing Attack and Blastoise used Protect before transitioning to Water Gun. The difference was that the second Water Gun didn't crit and Typhlosion defeated Blastoise with 41 health left. Growlithe got Typhlosion down to 26 health with a takedown. Luckily, both Execute and Alakazam were one-shotted by Flame Wheel, so it was a very close match, but a victory nonetheless. Against Giovanni at Silphco, we see the annoyance of Flame Wheel making contact. The first attack on Nidorino saw Poison Point trigger, and Typhlosion sadly doesn't have leftover at this point. Let's just say that catching 30 Pokemon takes a long time, and I usually get it done after visiting the Safari Zone. Rhyhorn fell to 2 Flame Wheels while I got a lucky critical hit Flame Wheel on Kangaskhan to one-shot it. The critical hit Flame Wheel and Nidoqueen falling to 2 Flame Wheels meant that Typhlosion barely eked out a victory with 30 health left. The Sabrina fight was a lot more decisive than the Giovanni one. Secret Power one-shotted all but Alakazam while Typhlosion handled the Alakazam Psychic with ease. Before the Koga fight, I had the option to either buy Flamethrower at the game corner or wait until Typhlosion learned it naturally at level 60. Money has diminishing returns starting in the mid-game, so I had the option available to me. In the end, I decided to stick with Flame Wheel. I first one-shotted the Koffing with Flame Wheel, then I switched to Secret Power against Buck because Buck had decent special defense stats. 2 Secret Power dealt with Buck who tried to use Bitabites. The second Koffing was one-shotted like the first Koffing, but Weezer required 2 Flame Wheels. I managed to poison Typhlosion with Sludge, and then Koga started spamming Hyper Potion. With Poison taking away Typhlosion's health, the Hyper Potions, if spammed enough, could cost me the win. Luckily, I got a critical hit Flame Wheel to finish the battle. The Blaine fight wasn't hard, but it was stubbornly long. Between the fact that Typhlosion gets hit by 2 Intimidates by the time it faces Arcanine, and Blaine enjoying the spam of potions to a certain degree, the fight took longer than it should have. Arcanine's Fire Blast did more damage than expected, but with only 5 PP in Fire Blast and Typhlosion holding leftovers, the win will eventually belong to me. The Giovanni fight felt great now that Typhlosion got Flamethrower. His 2 Rhyhorns had low special defense, which meant even Flamethrower can one-shot them. Meanwhile, ground types aren't strong against fire defensively, so Typhlosion easily one-shotted Dugtrio, Nidoqueen, and Nidoking before they can get off their Earthquakes. The rival fight before the Elite Four proved to be challenging, and this is with my rival's Blastoise still possessing Water Gun as its Water-type move. The fight started off poorly when Typhlosion narrowly made Pidgeot faint, and that gave the Flying type a chance to use Feather Dance, which drastically weakened Typhlosion's physical attacks. The Rhyhorn was one-shot by Flamethrower, but then Blastoise came out. With weakened physical moves and Flamethrower being not very effective, odds are in Blastoise's favor. I had to rely on Secret Power to paralyze Blastoise, which happened after the first time I used it. It was the 3 Parahacks moments that gave Typhlosion the opening to secure the small win. Growlithe then fell to 2 digs while Execute wasn't surviving a Flamethrower. To be fair, even Alakazam didn't survive a Flamethrower. Blastoise is going to be tough to overcome in the champion fight. I didn't look forward to the Lorelei fight because 3 of her Pokemon have Surf. That's quite devastating against Typhlosion. I also lack super effective move against those 3 Pokemon unless I teach Typhlosion Brick Break, which will only be useful for this first battle. After some pondering, I remembered the move tutors and headed to Rock Tunnel so Typhlosion can learn Rock Slide. The strategy was to start things off with Sunny Day to weaken any surfs coming my way. Then I will use a combination of Flamethrower and Rock Slide to make Lorelei's Pokemon faint. The strategy worked surprisingly well since Sunny Day made Flamethrower stronger than it would be otherwise, and Rock Slide did great damage if it didn't miss. I didn't think the Bruno fight would be difficult, but the first attempt taught me otherwise. The first Onix fell to an Earthquake easily. The Hitmonchan managed to survive a Flamethrower and got a Rock Tomb off. The drop in speed was rather annoying. Machamp, being very bulky, handled a Flamethrower well and used Scary Face. Between the Scary Face and the Rock Tomb, Typhlosion becomes very slow, meaning that it couldn't outspeed any of Bruno's remaining Pokemon, including his Machamp. Machamp got a Cross Chop off before it fainted and removed a quarter of Typhlosion's health. I needed 2 Earthquakes to make Bruno's second Onix faint, and due to Typhlosion being slower, Typhlosion took 2 Earthquakes that dropped it below half health. When Hitmonlee used Brick Break due to not having moves like High Jump Kick, I was able to secure a win. The Agatha fight went quite well for Typhlosion, who was level 75. Its higher special attack stat is really paying off when it one-shotted both the first Gengar and the Golbat. I wasn't sure if the critical hit mattered for the Arbok since Arbok has slightly higher special defense than Golbat and was 2 levels higher. The second Gengar survived on a sliver of health and its Sludge Bomb did very little. Then it was proven that a higher damage roll for Flamethrower can one-shot the second Gengar too. In essence, Typhlosion had a chance to one-shot Agatha's entire team. With a convincing win over Agatha, I then faced Lance, who I was very worried. Flamethrower was not very effective against his entire team, while Typhlosion also didn't boast a great defense or special defense. Remember the rock slide I got to beat Lorelei? Well, it came in very useful. I started the fight with Gyarados by using Sunny Day knowing it has Hydro Pump. I then finished it off with 2 rock slides despite the Intimidate. Aerodactyl, who I thought I had no tools against, was also weak against Rock Slide because Rock type moves are apparently neutral against Rock types. Aerodactyl got off both the Scary Face and Ancient Power before it too fell to 2 Rock Slides. Typhlosion had 163 HP when I faced the Dragonite. Given how well the move performed, I continued to use Rock Slide against Dragonite as it was also super effective. The earlier Scary Face slowed Typhlosion down enough that Dragonite was faster. Things looked dicey, but luckily Dragonite got fatigued after 2 L rages and then hit itself the next turn when I could have finished Typhlosion off. Dragonite was taken out and Typhlosion was in yellow health. And then faced the first Dragonair, which is somehow outsped. 2 Flamethrowers finished it off and 1 more Dragonair stood between me and victory. The Dragonair used Thunder Wave first before using a Hyper Beam. My heart skipped a beat, but the Hyper Beam only did 28 damage. With another Flamethrower, I was able to secure the win. The champion fight finally began and there were so many things that could go wrong. The battle started off very well with Pidgeot going for Aerial Ace instead of Sand Attack with Feather Dance. Things went from okay to great when my rival unexpectedly swapped out Pidgeot for Rhydon. This gave me a chance to knock out Rhydon before it can use Rock Tomb or Scary Face. Next, my rival brought out the Blastoise and the real fight began. I started off with Sunny Day and Blastoise Hydro Pump still did 87 damage. That move hit surprisingly hard. I used Flamethrower next, which did about half of Blastoise's health, but Citrus Berry meant I couldn't take it out the next turn. Blastoise then used Rain Dance, which I had to counter with Sunny Day or the fight would be over. Blastoise followed up with a Hydro Pump, which dropped Typhlosion to 67 health. With no way of finishing Blastoise off, I had to go for a gamble with Rock Slide, which had a chance to flinch. Not only was it a critical hit Rock Slide, but it succeeded in flinching Blastoise. My rival didn't use a full restore, so Blastoise was defeated. With Blastoise gone, Typhlosion then used Sunny Day boosted Flamethrower to crush Pidgeot, Alakazam, and Exeggutor in that order. Arcanine was then defeated by a critical hit Rock Slide, and that move had definitely carried me to victory. Stats-wise, Typhlosion was a solid Pokemon. It also had a lot of great moves available to it. I was really worried about Lorelei and Lance's Aerodactyl until I remembered the move tutors and the ability to learn Rock Slide, which was one of the major factors I was able to beat the Elite Four and the champion with a level 77 Typhlosion. FireRed arguably had better coverage moves for the fights, but Typhlosion did much better than I expected despite the unfavorable odds. Comparing the 3 Johto starter final evolutions, Typhlosion and FireRed were indeed exceptionally good. Meganium didn't measure up only due to the lack of love it had. With more coverage moves, I can certainly see Meganium beating the Elite Four and champion before level 82. That's it for the video. Thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please like, comment, and maybe even subscribe. Thank you.